Welcome to Wizards Outlook. As always, joined by Roman Lines, Cardo W. Jr., versus RK Jr. and the Wizards, man. All good things do in fact come to an end. The winning streak was snapped by the San Antonio Spurs tonight, 146-143. The game did need an extra period for us to get the desired result. It was balanced scoring by both teams. These players in double figures for Washington, 7 in double figures for San Antonio. You got to see some high level scoring, both in different ways. And I'm sure one of you guys is going to get into that. Get to talk about DeMar and what he did. Um, you know, uh, Ray, go ahead and kick it off.
Yeah, man, just a back and forth game the whole way. Uh, really came down to free throws, man. Wizards put them on the line 35 times. They made 31 of them. You know, that's you give a team opportunity to get 31 free ones. That's hard to overcome. But it was a well executed game on both sides. They had a combined 14 turnovers for both teams, and both teams were above 50% shooting from the field. Like that's just a great offensive game on both sides, man. They were trading blows the whole game. Spurs just made a couple more plays. Alex Lim, man, he was great tonight for the Wizards. Gave them energy. They were, of course, they're playing bigs by committee as they normally do, but with Lopez out, it made them that much thinner up front. But Anthony Gill came in, played great off the bench, gave him a nice punch. Bradley Beal, man, he started off the game really aggressive. I was of course worried about how effective he would be after the injury last night. Didn't quite know the extent of it, but he made it clear early on that he was his normal self. On the Spurs side, man, DeMar DeRozan was awesome. DeJounte Murray as well. He put a lot of pressure on the Wizards. Was really effective in the mid range. Rudy Gay, he gave him an offensive punch. Man, but like I said earlier, the Spurs just made a couple more plays to get the victory. This was Rudy's first game back. He looked good. He kind of eased into things. Great shot selection. He was effective. Even though it's a loss, it's not too much to complain about. Besides, them playing not being able to play defense without fouling. That really put them in a bad spot. If they were able to clean things up in that area a little bit, this is a different game. Like I said, Spurs made 31 free throws. That's a whole lot. But yeah, man, the win streak wasn't going to go forever. But 8-1 in your last 9 games is nothing to sneeze at. They did protect home court for the most part. Yeah, man, just back to the drawing board. They'll be back at it on Wednesday. It was one stretch of the game. I think late in the third quarter where it got a little messy for both teams. Wiz wasted a couple possessions. Westbrook looked like he was kind of overthinking things a little bit. Got into the lane a couple times and dished off when he could have just easily finished. But other than that, a clean game for him. He had another triple double. Then at the end of overtime, they did great. They trapped DeRozan, and Popovich was able to call the timeout. But then on the ensuing play, when they kind of had him in trouble at half court, Westbrook picked up the foul. I mean, that's you gotta live with that, man. It's I didn't think it was a reckless play. He just kind of got caught in a bad position. It wasn't even a whole lot of contact, if we're being honest. But and at that stage of the game, the ref's not going to swallow their whistle, especially when typically in that situation they're expecting you to foul anyway. So pretty much anything resembling a foul is going to get called. But yeah, man, it was a tough loss to be perfectly honest. But they gave a crack at it. They gave a valiant effort, and just got to shrug this one off and get ready for Wednesday.
Cardo.
Before I start, just to get some notes from Scott Brooks' presser. He said as far as the loss tonight, he says there's games throughout the season that no one deserves to lose. This was one of them. He said it was great effort, elite level offense. He said it came down to who made the last shot, and obviously that was the Spurs. As far as what he's learned about the Wizards during the win streak, he said we're not going to give up. We've been punched a bunch of times this season, but we got to punch back, and that's what we've been doing. As far as another note here for the loss, he said we put them on the line too many times and we didn't get there enough. Simple as that. I'm gonna touch more on that difference when I start. He said if we want to get back in the win column Wednesday against the Lakers, we got to defend better, and that goes without saying. And he said the Spurs, they made a lot of mid-range shots. Yeah, mid-range shots are still effective, man. He said we attacked in the paint. He said I thought we could have got some more and ones and free throws. And he said DeRozan, he's not surprised by what DeRozan did in the second half and overtime. He said one thing I know about him is he's very poised. It's hard to speed him up and get him to make mistakes. I don't know what it is about the Wizards that DeRozan love, but ever since we've been covering them about 4 or 5 years ago, including the playoffs, he does his thing. He loves the Wizards, so he loves DC. So it is what it is. But for my analysis, Brad Beal goes without saying. It's the reason why he's the lead. Well, probably after this game, he probably snatches it back. The NBA's leading scorer. He was unstoppable. I think I would. He missed a tough game winning attempt, but from 30 feet. But it is what it is, man. He got a good look at it. That's all you can ask for. I like how Russell Westbrook, pretty much through the first 3 quarters, he didn't shoot well, but he got everybody involved. Then the fourth quarter, he turned it on. And that's kind of been his strategy the last few games that people haven't been noticing. He tries to get everybody else going, and then that opens things up for him late to go ahead and try to help Bill close the game. I thought he did well. Just a couple careless turnovers late. That just you can't do that against the Spurs because they don't turn the ball over at all. They don't really make mistakes. They don't beat themselves. You know what I mean? So you can't help them beat you. I don't care who's suiting up for them. Ever since Popovich been there, they've been well coached. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They're second in the league in turning the ball over for a reason. They only average 11 turnovers. Go figure. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. I mean, you got players in the league that damn near average that by themselves. You know what I'm saying? On some of most nights. So that goes to show you, how hard it is to get them rattled and get them to make mistakes. I thought Gill was big in the first half, with his production, man. He kept them in it when the Spurs were clicking on all cylinders, especially from mid-range. Like Scott Brooks said, obviously for the Wizards outside of, Russ 6 turnovers, the Wizards did a great job of taking care of the ball, which you have to do against San Antonio. Like I said, they don't turn the ball over. Tonight, they had 6 turnovers as a team. The Wizards as a team had 8. I can't remember the last time the Wizards had single digits turnovers. You know what I mean? So they came in knowing that they had to take care of the ball. You know what I mean? And one thing about San Antonio that during the preview, scouting them, seeing what they bring, they may not be the most explosive team offensively, but what they do is they defend without fouling, which is what Brooks and all these guys are frustrated. But if you notice in the replays and stuff, they were fundamentally sound. They don't come down with their arms like a lot of people do. Just because it's contact don't mean it's a foul. The rule says if you stay big, you're fine. And they stay big all the time. That's coaching. That's coaching that's constantly going over that, which is why they don't put a lot of teams on the free throw line. So I'm surprised the Wizards honestly got this many free throws. Look how many times they really had to drive. Or how many points in the paint did they have? They had 86 points in the paint. That means they were driving like a mother. You know what I'm saying? Like they had to go there because the Spurs don't put you on the line. So they had to keep on driving just to draw fouls. And the thing is, the Wizards had to do that because they're not a good 3-point shooting team. You know what I mean? So they got to get the points from somewhere because you're not going to just keep isoing the Spurs. They're going to go like that. Popovich going to draw something up to stop that. So if you're not getting to the free throw line, if you're not hitting tough buckets like Bill was, it's going to be tough to generate points against them. And that's how they beat a lot of teams, even though themselves, they're not the most explosive offensive team in the league. They get the job done, but that's why they're 31-29. Instead of their customary being up there at the top of the West and whatnot. You know, Patty Mills, he had some big ones down the stretch, and then he had some big threes, especially in the fourth. Man, it was a spurt between the Wizards and Spurs in the fourth quarter where they just back and forth, man. Three, jumper, layup, back and forth. It was crazy. But Patty Mills came through when they needed the most, hitting some clutch buckets and some clutch free throws. You know what I mean? I thought Keldon Johnson, DeJounte Murray, Rudy Gay were big. This is what Scott Brooks was talking about. Look, Bertans is a sniper, but defense is not his forte. So whenever he was on the floor, especially late in the fourth quarter overtime, they saw him out, as you see right now. You know what I mean? So with DeRozan, they saw him out because, he's fooled. Let's just call it what it is. He's fooled defensively, man. So, and they know that because he used to be a Spur before he came here. So they definitely know his game well. You know what I mean? I just feel like they were huge altogether, especially DeJounte Murray. He damn near had a Russ stat line, 25 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists. Shoot, he had a game high in rebounds, 17 rebounds on 12 or 23 shooting. You could say he kind of, even out with Russ, man. You know what I mean? He kind of neutralized what Russ brought. You know what I mean? So, except he ain't have as many turnovers. He had 1. You know what I mean? I think the player that had the most for the Spurs was DeRozan. He had 2, and he had 37 and 10. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're just an efficient ball club, man. It's hard to beat the Spurs, man. With that dude on the sideline, it's been like that for 20 plus years, man. It is what it is. I don't care who playing. He gets them ready. And Bertans, the reason why the Wizards were close and had the chance to win this game was Bertans. He had some timely threes himself, man. And Alex Len, he outplayed the Spurs bigs. That was another unsung performance, 15-7. He's kind of been quiet the last few games, but it's good to see him kind of step up. You know what I'm saying? Especially with teams, they're not letting Gafford do all that no more. You know what I'm saying? They're focusing on him. He's on the scouting report, you can tell. So all in all, man, I just felt like, the Spurs just executed a little bit better down the stretch, and that was the difference in the game, obviously.
Yeah, I don't really have too much to piggyback on. Like you mentioned, the poise late. You had Russ and Brad both getting tees. And like you said, that's what makes the Spurs so freaking frustrating to play against. You want the foul because there is contact, but it's not enough for a foul because, like you said, by the book, technically, they're not raking your arms.
Then it's not contact. Like, if you jumping into me, there's no contact. You making the contact, honestly. I'm going straight up. So, just because you a start on me, you get that call, man. That's what they got to understand, man. So if you going to go into them, bump their ass hard enough so you got room to finish. And that's the difference, man. You can't – that's not going to work, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they got frustrated and stuff like that. You're not going to get phantom calls, not against the Spurs.
And that's the other thing is talking about them as a whole. Even the kids, long, strong, athletic. So about DeJounte Murray, you saw about the 17 rebounds.
Keldon Johnson.
That's their point guard. Keldon Johnson is built like somebody twice his age. You saw him a couple times getting to the basket against the Wizards. He had no problem finishing through a bunch of bumps. And when you're talking about the way they go about scoring, we saw an array of floaters, mid-range jumpers. It was just a whole bunch of poised folks operating in that space that people kind of threw away. But that's where they lived at as a team tonight. They either finished at the bucket or there's a bunch of comfortable shots in the mid-range. DeJounte Murray, because I'm about to say floater. That's all it was. It was DeJounte's floaters almost for most of the game. They set the screen, kept the defender in his back. Big man kind of at bay, floater again. I got enough room for a jumper. It was surgical watching them work. Yeah, for Washington, it's nothing to hang your head about. But again, this is the thing we've been talking about during this win streak. Some of the teams they've played so far are kind of young at the end of games. Today was the opposite of that. Yeah, they got some youth, but they don't act like it at the end of games. You just see the Spurs succumbing to the pressure. They were fine. They were the very poised team. They were unbothered by it getting really tight late. and just a couple decisions here and there really cost it for Washington. They got a day to get over it, and then they're dealing with the Lakers. Did you guys have anything else to add for tonight's game?
Just a special shout out to Keldon Johnson, local kid, Boo Williams guy from Virginia, man. He always been a dog, always been high motor, always been up to the challenge, relentless, man. Just good to see him thrive in the league. Been watching him, scouting him, covering him since he was in high school, AAU circuit, on a high school, top 100 camp, all that, man. So, he when he first got drafted had to go to G League, get a little seasoning, but he's been, you could tell that the Spurs are gearing up to him and DeJounte with DeRozan. They gearing up to have, a younger version of what you see around the league with a couple nasty, dangerous, versatile, skilled wings that could do it all.
Mm-hmm.
And don't even forget Lonnie Walker. He's another one. He's a little bit younger, but he definitely got the tools. I remember his freshman year, he came here to DC, played GW. He tore him up. I was like, when it was early, I was like, yeah, he definitely a lead dude, and he made that lead. I'm sure it was easy. So he had an off night, but he's capable, man. So they definitely building up. I wanted to sleep on the Spurs, you know what I'm saying? So it's just a youth movement. But DeRozan is they're building around DeRozan, and I love the growth in this game, man. Once upon a time he was just a scorer, but now he's making guys better. That 10 assists, like, think about what we just said, man. He finished with 37 points, but 10 assists, but 2 turnovers. People have gotten kind of complacent and comfortable with guys averaging like 5+ turnovers, and it's okay. It's okay. And I'm like, nah, it's not. That's crazy, man. But he's efficient. You know what I mean? And he don't shoot threes. He had 37, didn't shoot 1 3. So clearly, in this day and age, you don't need to shoot threes to thrive and be a bucket. Just knock down shots. But he got to the free throw line 13 times. Guess what that means? He was putting fouls on somebody. So Scott Brooks had to keep adjusting. That's why you attack, man. Look, 3-point is cool. If you Steph and you got that type of efficiency and range, use it as a weapon. I'm all for it. But most players ain't that. Not even close. So you should attack. You should operate mid-range in. If you open, shoot the 3, but be smart in your shot selection, man, because bad shot selection is basically a turnover any damn way. So, it's good to see these guys thrive, man. But overall, this was a good-ass game. I'm not going to sit up in front, man. Like you said, the Wizards shouldn't be ashamed, man. They fought. They got heart, which at times throughout the season, it could be in question, you know what I'm saying, as a team, not certain players. Sometimes they look like they just gave up, but now, they're competing. So, it's back to the drawing board because they got the Lakers coming in here Wednesday, AD starting to get in rhythm. Who knows, LeBron might pop up and play. You just don't know, So they got to be ready.
And it's a nationally televised game, like you said.
Yeah, it's gearing up. Look like he made a call. I'll be back then.
Wednesday sound good. I thought you said Wednesday sound good.
No, he was like, who did we play again? Oh, yeah, for sure. I'll be back.
All right, let's get into some of these comments. I only had a couple tonight. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in, whether it be live or later on. Appreciate your comments. Don't forget, if you're not part of the normal crew that comments on YouTube, you have the ability to do, whether it's on Instagram Live, Facebook, and or Twitter at the moment. That said, let's get to the 2 comments for the night. From the Black Line, good show as always, fellas. All I know is if we get to at least the 8th seed, Beal and Westbrook deserve some MVP consideration. Beal has been unreal all year, and Russell Westbrook in particular has been lights out on defense as of late. Whoever wants to start, whoever wants to take this one first, feel free.
Well, just with all due respect to them too, man. If you the AC, you don't deserve to be in the MVP conversation. Even though Bill being the leading scorer, typically, honestly, if your team got to win, man. It's just as simple as that. You got to at least be up there in the standings, top 4 or 5, for you to kind of be in the mix, and you got to be killing, which Bill has been doing. But nah, I think Bill, should be more. Can he be all NBA first team? Kind of more in that discussion than MVP, because I think it's only a handful of guys that's really deserving to be in that conversation. Embiid, Jokic. I love what Julius Randle has done in New York. He's turned that thing around. You got to put him in there. I don't want to, miss out on names, man. Guys like that, you know what I mean? So, I know Steph, what he's been doing, people throwing Dame out there, just you got to be killing, you got to be winning games. And, that's what the MVP standard is for. Man, Westbrook, because in the first half of the season, while he was recovering from his injury, he wasn't up to par. So, and they weren't winning games. Like, same thing that affects Bill. So, no, MVP, no. But, yeah, man, and, I know they, hit a little bump tonight, but, they put together another win streak. The AC is possible. It's going to be tough because it's only 73 games, and I think this is their 61st tonight. So they only got 12 games. They're going to have have another 8 or 9 game win streak and hope some teams lose for them to get that. That'll be tough.
Right? Anything to chime in or no?
Yeah, I mean you gotta win some games getting that MVP discussion. Like I mean, during this recent stretch, they both have been performing and it's been getting recognized. Bill was just named Eastern Conference Player of the Week, so people are noticing. But that the MVP thing has got us. You got to talk about the entire season, and so they just aren't in a position where team wise where that success will lend to Bill being in that. Excuse me, in that discussion, like Cardell said, Westbrook, he had a rough start to the season, and he's come on as of late. But yeah, man, you can't put him in there. Seeing as how if we're looking at the season as a whole.
All right, on to our second and final comment of the evening. This is from Javier Sidhu. The only basketball coaching I've done is on NBA 2K. But do you guys think it would make more sense for Bertans to play most of his minutes when Russ is on the floor against the Cavs? Bertans would come in when Russ was off the floor. Bill was killing, so his mindset is to score kill first. So if Bertans isn't getting looks, his minutes aren't being optimally used. I'm sorry. Not suggesting I know more than an NBA coach, but interested to hear what you guys think. Enjoy the content. We appreciate you, sir. You guys go ahead and respond.
First, thank you for acknowledging that, you're not on the same level as a person that's paid to do this. It's very introspective of you, sir, and we definitely appreciate the level-headedness. But in regards to the comment in general, Bertans is there to spread the floor whenever he's on the floor, man. So whether it's with Bill or whomever, I don't think he's ever going to be a featured player in the offense, no matter who's on the floor. He's just there to knock down shots. So whether it is Bill on the floor, he's killing, and he's causing teams to focus on him. That's his responsibility to get Bertans in a position where he can dish it out, and Bertans can do what he does best. Same with Russ. That's Russ's thing to find people and create. So yeah, man, I don't think there's any special type of lineup or slot that we need to focus on having Bertans at. Just when he's on the floor, he just needs to do what he's getting paid to do. Yeah, but I don't think he's any more effective or ineffective with any lineup. Seeing as how he's kind of a specialist in that he's there to knock down threes and spread the floor for guys.
Well, I think he against the Cavs he was used good. I mean, he got 12 shots. Bill had the most, which he should have the most shots. He had 24, and then Westbrook was next with 13. Then Bertans had 12. The problem was Bertans was 3 of 12 from the field. You know what I'm saying? And then you also got to take into account his defense. He's food. I mean, I don't have no other way of putting it. Defensively, teams know to pick on him. And then, third, I know you saying he's there to kind of he's there to spread the floor, but you got to give the other teams credit. They're running him off the 3-point line too, forcing him to try to make decisions, either pass or get to the basket or whatnot. That's something I see he's trying to do a little more just to keep them honest, but teams are locked in on him. They know he's the resident sniper for this team. You know what I mean? So they're not about to just stand there and let him just, have a, shooting drill in the game on him. You know what I mean? They're defending him. They're eyeing him. They trying to, take him away. But they know he's capable. They know he has a quick trigger. So when he's on the floor, it definitely spaces things out for Bill Russ when they go out. But Russ may have went out for a breather. I gotta look at the game again to see exactly what you're talking about. Because for the most part, to me, Bertans is playing with Russ a lot. I just don't. I just think Bertans had a rough time against the Cavs because of what Jerry Allen was doing, and he had to deal, kind of deal with Kevin Love. Like it was times Russ had to get on Kevin Love to keep him from getting open and stuff like that, because he could stretch the floor and stuff, things like that. But no, it's all about matchups and if he's hitting shots, you know what I'm saying? So you can't say he's not being optimally used when he's 3 for 12, in 34 minutes for 9 points. You know what I mean? That can't happen. They need more efficient shooting. That's what he's getting paid to do.
Yeah, what you guys said, echoing those sentiments. The games where he's knocking down shots, it's easier to leave him on the floor a little bit longer because we already know what the deficiencies are on the defensive end, but it's hard to leave him on the floor. The shots aren't falling because of the same reason. So, it's kind of simple, at least to me. All right, you guys have nothing else. I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We'll be back for Wizards Outlook on Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow night for the Focus TVs like every Tuesday at 8 p.m. We'll be doing our first round mock draft, so we look forward to getting into that since everybody's going crazy and feeding and like over what's going to happen on Thursday in NFL draft. Some of y'all are crazy about this, so we want to just take a look, go through the first round, maybe talk about what we hope our prospective teams do. But we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8. And I'm already shaking your head, man. We'll go for this. It's been another edition of Wizards Outlook. You guys have a good one.